Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to the Games and Culture Podcast, episode 26,
Seven.
27? 27.
26 was the bonus episode for
That's
the.
right. That's right.
Yes.
Apologies for this episode being a couple days late. If you couldn't tell by my voice, have been a little under the weather. Our normal recording day, I literally was blowing my nose every 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to get through this episode without having to cough my lungs out or blow my nose. So, wish me luck. But we are here. This is not, if you read the title, the Game of the Year episode. Nick asked for an extension.
Because my
So,
work won't stop. Well, the good news is this week, there's no overtime, so I finally got some things done. But
Dragon Age: The Veilguard is done, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, finally.
He's only
But
8 games behind me.
I'm blaming my job for this because overtime was nonstop. It was making things difficult to get things done.
And that's fair. We can't control that. That's fair. So I think what we're going to do at this point is that the Games of the Year episode will just be a bonus episode. It will drop when it drops. Until then, the news just won't stop, ladies and gentlemen. The news just will not stop. It's very poignant that Nick finished Dragon Age: The Veilguard when he did, because we have EA Bioware news this week. So, as if they waited on him to finish the game. But lots of other bad news and little nuggets of good news in this week's episode. So now that Dragon Age: The Veilguard is finished, what are you playing now?
I was gonna move on to Life is Strange and Silent Hill 2.
So those trying to be the last two games you squeak in for your end of the year.
Well, these games aren't long games at all, so I'm hoping to again wrap it down. As soon as we're off the show, I was going Life is Strange. Life is Strange is already in the system, ready to go.
Gotcha. I'm still working through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, in addition to playing tons of Marvel Rivals. So
yeah, so that's fair. That we did the extensions, so we can try and get Rebirth done.
Yeah, spoiler: Marvel Rivals is going to be in both of our Game of the Year lists.
Yeah, I can. But my list is kind of taking shape now. I have a preliminary list now, and my Rivals is there.
Yes. Yeah, I have my list. Honestly, just Rebirth will be my last game that I'm putting in the running. I've decided to kind of just hold off on Indiana Jones. This will be my last 24 game that's in the running, so that I can be done with it in time for this month's fantastic games. Yakuza, Like a Dragon Pirate, Yakuza, Lost in Paradise, Love Island bullshit, and Monster Hunter
Big
Wilds.
Boy. Yeah, the big boy.
For all of March and most of April, if you ask me what I'm playing, it will be Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yes.
Have I played anything else? What are other games aside from Marvel Rivals? It'll be Marvel Rivals and Monster Hunter Wilds.
Only 2 games will exist for you during that time frame.
I'm trying to figure out when they're going to drop Thing and Human Torch, because I'm just hoping it's not the same day as Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh, no, that would be so bad.
Because, like, the timetable kind of lines up where it's Monster Hunter Wilds Day. Like, Majima and Pirate Yakuza can wait so that I can play Human Torch and Thing. Monster Hunter Wilds really can't.
No, I can't.
So, just a small tangent about Marvel Rivals. Something that I truly appreciate about the game, and this is just not me that's saying this. This is other people expressing a lot of this as well. It's gotten me back into reading comics.
I've heard of that.
Because, it's just because I love these characters, and to see a fresh interpretation of these characters just makes me want to read comics. So I've read a lot of comics since Marvel Rivals released, and one of those, it's kind of like a Marvel blind spot for me, was the Fantastic Four. I never read a whole lot of their comics. I've read a bunch of their comics now, including their most recent run, and I'm now so much more excited for Thing and Human Torch, because I now have a deeper recognition of the characters. Wearing my Daredevil Born Again shirt today. I read that. Some of Frank Miller's finest. I think that's like the coolest thing that's came out of Marvel Rivals, aside from just being a really cool new game, is that it has deep into my love for comics because like I have the Marvel Unlimited app. I read my comics on my iPad, and it's something I do like just kind of like in my off time. But I found myself literally just sitting and doing nothing but reading comics. Like I'm sitting in bed reading comics, not playing a game or anything, just reading comics. So it's really cool. Um, Shout out to Spider-Man Life Story, one of the greatest sub-series that I've ever fucking read. It's Spider-Man, but he ages with us. So he got bit in 1962. He was 15, and so it's actually him aging along with the years. So you see him,
Oh,
so it's like a celebration of all things Spider-Man. Every it's broken up into decades, and every decade follows like major stories and major villains from that decade. So for instance, the 70s is Miles Warren and the Clone Saga, where Peter gets cloned, but also Death of Gwen Stacy, and they mash that together and kind of thing where Peter's like in his 30s essentially. It's super cool. I only discovered it because of the rabbit hole that Marvel Rivals sent me down. It's fantastic. Go read it if you have Marvel Unlimited. It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
I've heard that. I've heard some stories that like comic shops are actually like selling out of Marvel comics after Rivals came out, which never happened with the MCU.
Yeah, because it's that age old thing with video games versus like movies. Video games are an interactive media. You're playing this character. There is an immediate bond between you and that character because you are that character in that moment, and that's one of the reasons why video game adaptations often fail is because you can't recreate that bond that the interactive media gives. So like if you are like for you for instance right now you're playing a ton of Invisible Woman, you feel connected to that character. I'm sure you've had like an inkling of like, oh, I wonder what else she can do with these powers. Like, did you know that she can make full on light constructs with her powers? Like,
I mean,
she's fucking
that is one
crazy.
of I mean, that is one of her powers in the game. The little
No,
shield.
well, I mean, I'm talking about like full on polygonal
Yeah,
shape constructs
yeah,
with, yeah,
yeah.
like she can
I know.
shape motherfucking light.
No, I mean, I knew she was like one of the most like she's deceptively like
Yes.
probably the most powerful member of the team. Like
Yeah. Yes.
most people wouldn't think it, but it's probably her.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. It is her. It is her for 100%. But like, so yeah, no, and so like every skin, if it's from the comics, it'll tell you the comic name and stuff and what year it came out. So it makes searching them on Marvel Unlimited or Google so easy. And so yeah, no, I think it's one of the coolest things that it came out of it is like the culture is moving because of this game, and so since this game has such a wide reach, people are getting into more Marvel stuff, and it just makes me happy to see it. Let me hold on. Let me pull up Marvel Rivals Steam DB page so we can check in real quick.
Show staple at this point.
A show staple at this point. I literally have the Marvel Rivals page bookmarked. 259,000 players playing right now.
It's a
But people are,
Tuesday.
yeah, yeah, yeah. As of recording, it's Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So it's like, people are at work and stuff. It'll peak back up.
Cool.
Uh, yeah, just the peaks are always 375 in that ballpark, up to 400,000 every single day. It's crazy. I love Marvel Rivals. Go play Marvel Rivals. Good game. Good game. Good game. All right, let's get into the news. Enough.
On
I could.
on
I
to
could.
the show.
Yeah, I could talk about Marvel comics and Marvel Rivals until I'm fucking just out of voice, and I'm already almost there, so it wouldn't take that long. Since I've been reading comics more often, I've been following a bunch of like comic podcasts and stuff like that. Shout out to the Secret Identity podcast. One of my favorite comedians, Troy Bond, and a couple of his friends do a comic book podcast. It's really really cool. Been listening to them a lot, so shout out to them. They're never gonna see this. If they do, that'd be fucking cool as shit. But love the podcast. Been listening to a lot of that as I'm reading through some comics. They are the ones that actually I found Spider-Man life story through, because I went down a rabbit hole. There's
I'm wearing
also
a
a
comic
Fantastic
shirt.
Four life story that I'm excited to read. I need to get onto it, but I've been reading some Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. So yeah. So that's enough about comics. I literally could go on. We have to move on.
Yeah.
We
This
have
is
to
a game
move
show,
on.
not a comic show.
We have to move on. Let's talk about Xbox, our favorite punching bag. It's no secret. Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, you're all open invitation on the show for an interview. Still there. Still there. We haven't talked in a while. Still there. But they made some announcements this past week, that are finally signaling their philosophy around being a third party. And it sounds like they're just a fucking third party. So the news kind of broke when it was announced that Forza Horizon 5 is coming to the PlayStation 5 this spring. Latest entry out of the Forza Horizon series. Very, very highly regarded. Lots of people love the Forza Horizon games. They're essentially open world driving sims. Lots of fun. They lean a little bit more into the arcadey side versus the motorsports games, which are like the dedicated sim. So lots of wide reaching appeal. The game's going to release with all of its DLCs and shit. And so obviously the question then becomes, the first of the big three, being Forza, Halo, and Gears, has dropped. What else will drop? And Phil Spencer kind of answered that question this week. He was um, speaking to Bloomberg, who was asked the question, and his response was, I'm looking at the Games Radar article on it. His response was, there are no red lines. Banning certain Microsoft games from releasing on PlayStation, but he's taking it case by case. The question literally was, is Starfield coming to PlayStation
Yeah,
5? And he
I
said
was I
there are
saw
no red lines.
I saw the clip of that. He was talking to I think an IGN editor or something like that. They asked him, is Starfield gonna stay put for now? And his look on his face was kind of like a, you already asked this type of question. He just went, no, I'm not gonna make that commitment. No, there's no red lines. Like he's the look on his face was very much like, no, this is pretty apparent what we're doing now. He's been usually he's been pretty like coy about things
Yes.
and like some really words. This was not that. This is
No, this
cut and
was
dry.
definitive answer. Yeah. Speaking to Bloomberg, he also said the ball's moving in the right direction when it comes to more open game platforms. This idea of open platforms where users have more choice, creators have more choice. You see the momentum, right? So it seems like they are very dedicated to continuing to release these games. Spencer said that I do not see red lines in our portfolio that say thou must not
No,
take a certain game or series multi-platform. But
they're
he did also say that it's too early to make any kind of decision on some of their bigger titles, most notably Halo.
the thing is, a couple things. There was the big three: Halo, Gears, Forza. Any one of them, that means the dam's breaking. It's just
Yes.
who was going to be the state of break. So
Forza,
Halo's
in my opinion, is the easiest to go multi-platform.
yeah, it is. And I understand why they went with Horizon as well, just because compared it to Motorsport, Gran Turismo already exists on PlayStation. I wasn't going to
Exactly.
do anything. So there's something like Horizon though on PlayStation, so that's your best bet.
Yep.
Um, and so to me, they're like, "Oh, we're not sure about Halo." No, you know about Halo. They know
You just don't
Halo's
want to
on its
say it
way.
yet.
You just want to say it yet. And I think what's happening with Halo, because I did now this is a rumor. I don't want to go train assault thing, but Forza was kind of leaked because people obviously there's people who can see like the back end of Sony's PlayStation Store. And what I read is the Forza was there before they put it up, obviously, because you want to get the thing ready for putting it up for the Forza announcement.
Yep.
That wasn't the only Microsoft thing in the back end. Halo and Gears was there as well as Starfield and Killer Instinct. Um,
Which,
it,
I mean, Starfield super makes sense. It was already gonna be a PlayStation 5 exclusive before Microsoft stepped in and bought ZeniMax. Killer Instinct, all of the fighting game community, you know best, being our resident fighting game player here, is on PlayStation. So those two are no brainers.
Halo and
Um,
Gears, that was the other big two.
yeah, and we've said multiple times after E Day's announcement that that would be the perfect one to release onto PS5 because it's essentially the beginning. Uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah,
Uh,
I mean, we've said it
my
multiple times. They need a definitive answer so that people can have that choice that they value you so much.
um the I think what's happening is typically Sony does a state of play in February. That's
Hmm.
there's maybe the MMO. So they could do one this month. And what they could be doing is, since Halo Force is a big announcement, but again, it's just a racing game. Halo's the crown jewel, the moneymaker. I could imagine them doing a state of play and going up and the next game from our partners at Microsoft, and you just hear the Halo music start playing.
Yeah, I think it's still probably too early for that
Who
because
knows?
here's the thing, like there's still games in the woodwork that we don't know about. Like Avowed is not releasing on PlayStation 5, even though that game will perform better on PS5 than it ever would on Xbox. So
Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones apparently not selling that well.
oh yeah, for sure. But I think that they will hold Halo until they can't hold Halo anymore. I think it may not be a
Maybe
red line, but it's going to be the last line, in my opinion. I think that's finally the checkmate moment. We can never come back from this.
I mean, you're right, and I think it's the checkmate moment. But I think they've already are they're. I don't think they're holding on to it. I think they're just preparing the flag to get raised. I
And
think
that's
that's what's happening.
that's fair. I can see it going both ways. I think strategically, business minded sense, I would hold on to it as long as you can, or at
If
least
you're
until
feel
the next Halo game is ready.
if you're like still thinking of like almost like how Phil Spencer you would expect kind of think, because I don't think Phil Spencer's leading this charge. This is 100% Satya Nadella.
Yeah, for sure.
And Satya Nadella gives no
After looking
fucks.
at their financials, which we'll get into after this discussion, this is totally Saturday.
Yeah, Satya Nadella holds no like importance to Halo. Like, so if he says move it to PlayStation, that's
It's moving
it.
to PlayStation.
Yeah. So if there is no, I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I personally don't see any benefit of putting Halo Infinite on PlayStation.
No,
They
I think that the rumors are it's Master Chief Collection.
that's fair. That would be something easy to do. And at that point too, you're not necessarily committing to the next Halo game on PlayStation. It's just like, hey, we have these other ones that maybe you guys would like to play. If you haven't heard of them, they're like classics. You know,
I mean, Sony already owns Bungie, so just getting their stuff back, I
I
guess.
I mean, that's true. That's true. Shoutouts to ODST. That game does not get enough praise. That game is really really good. Just saying. Not made by Bungie. I'm pretty sure that one wasn't made by Bungie.
No, it was made by Bungie.
It was?
I think everything. I think everything up to Reach was made by Bungie. Everything after was
I
343.
I thought that they were, because ODST came out shortly after 3. And I thought that Bungie was working on. I'm gonna look this up now. I thought Bungie was working on Reach, and and so ODST was handled by a smaller studio.
I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure it was Bungie.
You don't play as the Master Chief.
No.
Okay, never mind. It was developed by Bungie. Okay, damn. Bungie
So yeah,
put in
Bungie
the
just
fucking
get
work, man.
Bungie's getting their stuff back. God, what if they asked Bungie to help port the games over?
They wouldn't. I wouldn't want that.
I would want that. That's funny. Oh,
Okay, I guess maybe that wasn't. I thought Halo 3 ODST came out way closer to Halo 3. ODST came out in 2009. Halo 3 came out in 2007. I thought they were way closer than that. And then
oh, guess
Reach
not.
came out in 2010. Okay, well, I was wrong. That's fine. Um, but speaking about, all right, you want to cover the more about Microsoft? You want to cover the good news or the bad news first?
Which one's which?
Well, one paints them a lot better than the other one. So there's a
Whatever you
we'll
choose.
start with the
They
bad
seem.
news. We'll start with the bad news. So Xbox revenue fell in quarter two of last year, which essentially is most other people's quarter four or quarter three.
Yeah.
Um, so this is covering October, November, and December. So even though it's their
Yeah.
Q2, it's the most
Mike,
important Q.
Microsoft's fiscal year is July to June
Yeah,
compared to most
it's
companies.
fucking weird as shit. Fucking weird. 7% revenue decline for its gaming division in the holiday season. which equates to $530 million difference year over year. So the decline was, I'm looking at a VGC article here. The decline was attributed to 29% drop in Xbox hardware revenue, driven by a lower volume of consoles sold during the quarter. But their Xbox content and services revenue increased by 2% year over year, thanks to Game Pass. So, looking into the numbers there, Game Pass revenue slightly increased, more than likely thanks to Call of Duty.
So, no, not thanks to Call of Duty. Thanks to a price increase.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure that Call of Duty helped a little bit with people swallowing that price increase, but yeah. So you can really say that there's no growth there. 29% drop when they were already down. You can look back into
Again.
our videos. Xbox hardware has been plummeting in sales because this is an Xbox.
Hmm?
Hair on it. This is an Xbox.
This is an Xbox controller.
This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. Oh look, it's Nick inside my. Look at that.
Hi.
Nickception. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of writing on the wall, right? Like you've declared everything else as an Xbox, so why do I need to go to an Xbox? So if your hardware is falling 29% during Christmas, boy, are you cooked.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Nintendo's financials later, but Nintendo outsold them during the Christmas season. An 8-year-old tablet
Yep.
outsold the Xboxes.
Yes.
Um, and then with gaming revenue just down total of 7%, and that's even with Call of Duty. Like these numbers right here is 100% why they're putting the games on PlayStation right now.
Yes.
That's literally it.
So
Everything is explained by those numbers.
yeah, some other notes here. Nadella, as he was going over these numbers, said that Indiana Jones: The Great Circle has attracted over 4 million players since its release in December. That's pretty solid. That number's only going to go up here in a couple weeks when it releases onto PlayStation. They are claiming that they see strong momentum for cloud gaming with a record 140 million hours streamed this quarter. So in the holiday season, so that's one
Interesting.
of their major initiatives. So that's kind of good to see. All up, Game Pass set a new quarterly record for revenue and grew its PC subscriber base by 30%. So they're attracting PC users, but they did say that they didn't say new console users. So so which makes sense because nobody's buying that console. So how can you have no console users if nobody's buying your console?
Yeah.
um, So, and I mean, this kind of ties into our next point, the good news. Obviously, they have been going multi platform, and so 64% of consumer spending on its games in December was on PlayStation formats, mostly driven by Call of Duty.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that wasn't just console to console. That was including PC in those numbers too, which is
Yes.
crazy. That's due to Call of Duty because that's the only thing they really had.
Well, I'm
Because if
sure
you
I'm
count,
sure a small part of that is like Sea of Thieves and the other games that they've had on there, but like
yeah,
I'm
but like
sure
1-2%.
97% of that's Call of Duty.
Yeah, but they had to account for it. Indiana Jones came out in December as well,
On
and it
PC.
came out on Xbox PC only. There's no PlayStation version, so it had a brand new game to boost it, and still that's most of the revenue came from COD
Yeah.
on their competitor's platform.
So, so
Again,
like we were talking about, the third party strategy is literally pushed by Satya Nadella because like they got to make that 69 nice $1 billion back.
yeah,
Like
and
there's there's
PC,
there's no that's not chump change. Like
no,
they spent 7 billion on ZeniMax, 69 nice $1 billion on Activision Blizzard. Like you
yeah.
can't, you got to make that money back. So
Yeah, and those numbers are why Forza is now coming to PlayStation, and why other games will follow. I think Microsoft over brass would have ate the ZeniMax cost. Like, okay, if this helps the brand, whatever, that we can do that. This Activision purchase is turning into a curse if they
Oh yeah,
intended to stay first party hardware.
oh
They
yeah,
clearly are not anymore.
yeah. No, I think that that they're certainly going the way of
Sega.
Sega. I mean, you just how do you recover from that? I mean, so even with them being the even with them being the largest third party publisher, they still lost $530 million. like
I mean,
Xbox is gonna Xbox is gonna cut some fat somewhere, and it's gonna
I
be
think
major.
I think there's a couple of things they're going to cut fat on. Um, One, I think they're going to scale back their next hardware hard. Like
If they even do one, they keep claiming that they've got one in R&D. We'll see if it even releases.
yeah, I could very well see Satya Nadella going, no, don't release it. We're going to claim the R&D time as a tax write off.
Yeah, yeah, because especially if so, you got to think that that's probably a couple years away, right? So especially if the next couple years of games that are releasing on both platforms goes well for Microsoft, they might just be like, yeah, we lost that time, big fucking deal. Look how much money we were making off of PlayStation.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I could also see them not doing that, but scaling back the production of the system, because like Microsoft does make some hardware like the Surface tablets, but they're niche compared to the iPad. They're a
yes,
boutique item.
yes.
The Xbox becomes a boutique item.
As much as I
So
do
you,
not like Apple, I have an iPad because it's pretty much the only tablet on the market.
yeah,
Like this
um,
is a market that has been cornered by Apple.
yeah. So they could just like, here's a boutique item. If you really love Game Pass and you want a Game Pass box,
Yeah.
but
And
they're not going
and
to produce that many of them.
like honestly, my view of it is that they just start releasing like PCs, like home console style PCs.
So you're talking like the Steam box again.
Yeah, like
Steam machine.
this like Steam tried to do it a few years ago. They're called the Steam machines, which is basically Steam on a console, and that was it. And I think Xbox should do something similar like that,
Yeah, I think
where it's high end. It's somewhere like they carve out their own niche. It's somewhere between the PlayStation and a full on PC, and they just carve out that niche of like
oh, I'm not
higher
even,
end stuff, and they maybe they only sell like 3, 4, 5 million of them, and call it a day. You know?
I mean, they could do that because that the Steam machines were done like through third party vendors, so they could do that. Or if they take on the cost themselves to make their own like system, like it is still also an Xbox. Their Xbox won't have, we have the Series X and the Series S. Their next console will just be one, and it's gonna be more like a Series S, where it's literally just a Game Pass
I mean, yeah,
box.
yeah.
Is that
Either way, I imagine that this third party strategy is going to drastically change what they do with the next console.
mhm.
Because if they're just making more money than they've ever seen off of just releasing their games on PlayStation, what's the point of even having another console? There really isn't one. Like
No.
that's the thing.
The the only issue is compared to like Sega when they bowed out, Sega was still in the still traditional system of you're buying physical games, you're plugging in the game into the system and calling it a day. Because people now have a digital library on the Xboxes, how do we basically kind of fade them out into that?
I mean,
So
honestly, I think you just do a Nintendo, do an Irish goodbye, and say sorry, we lost, and then that's it. Like
just
there's not going to
Wii U
be
it.
this kind of refugee program where they can go to buy a PlayStation and somehow port all their shit over. Like
Oh,
that's not going to
that's not
happen.
happening. Sony's not going to do that.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm
not
more
going to
like,
happen. So you can't continue to incur costs that are just because you're just that's all you're doing. Like hardware is floundering so hard, you're just spending money for the sake of spending money at this point. At some point, you just got to be like, look, I'm
yeah. I
sorry.
mean,
Thank you for your dedication, but we're closing up shop.
ultimately, this comes down to what's going through Satya Nadella's head. This
Yeah.
is his call. It's Phil Spencer's call.
Hmm.
So, and there's already been rumors that Sentinel was already kind of thinking of bringing the axe down on the Xbox before they even bought Activision, and there's only so many times you can convince them not to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the one way that you don't lose the Xbox brand at this point is just by releasing those games on the PlayStation, having them sell a buttload, and incurring as little cost as humanly possible, so that you
Mhm.
make as much profit as possible. That's the only really the only way that the Xbox brand is going to survive this point. Because again, you just lost $530 million during the holiday season. Like, you are no competition to anybody at this point, which sucks because they released a really great game. Like, by all accounts, Indiana Jones is a great game that deserves the praise, but it didn't move
I
any
mean,
numbers or anything like that. So,
I mean, it's wild that this is how it's turned out for Sony specifically, because they fought so hard to have this deal blocked, and it didn't pan out because they thought Call of Duty was gonna be used against them as a weapon, and now it's like, no, 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 you're just getting the whole slate now. You're getting Halo,
yeah,
you're getting Jones, and a better deal because beforehand Sony was paying Activision, market, a deal, so they were paying Activision's marketing costs and only getting 20% of every copy of Call of Duty sold. Now they're not paying anything to Microsoft to advertise it. We're having the marketing rights. They're not taking on marketing costs, and they're getting 30% of every copy sold.
yeah. They got their cake, got to eat it too, and then were handed a pie, a pint of ice cream, some chocolate, and all of it was covered in sprinkles. And they were like, "I just wanted the cake." So yeah, no, I mean, that's, I mean, if you're an Xbox fan, this is exactly what you asked for. Like, I greatly and so here's the thing too, is like Xbox has some of the most compelling stuff coming out this generation. South of Midnight, um,
Hi-Fi
uh,
Rush came out a couple years
yeah,
ago.
Hi-Fi Rush came out a couple years ago. That Clockwork game, or what's it looks like Bioshock, but everything's like, I can't
Sure.
remember its name, but you know what I'm talking about. Uh, the new Fable looks kind of decent. Like, they have like a lot of great stuff, a lot of creative stuff coming out, and they have essentially ruined it for
Yeah.
themselves through the
Yeah.
way that
Well,
they've ran their business.
with the amount of studios they have, I better be seeing some good stuff coming out of them. I mean, at this point, there is no like there was years during especially the Xbox generation where Xbox had nothing. It was a desert. They have no excuses for desert anymore. Like you have all these studios now. There's no, and it's been a while. I don't think an Xbox game was on the Game of the Year stage this past year, but we're running out of time. Excuses like you need to start getting some Game of the Year nominations now, buddy, because you have too many studios to not be getting this.
Yeah, and the drought has now ended just in time for the Xbox brand to be floundering. So, like, third party is now the only option. And it's a damn good option to have because in December, one of the most important months, Microsoft was the number one game publisher um, in in the world, making more money than Ubisoft, Square Enix, everybody. They netted $465 million was spent on Microsoft games over December, make again putting them ahead of PlayStation, Steam, everybody. Um, Again, I'm quoting a VGC article here. All of that led by Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which was one of the biggest games of the holiday period. Indiana Jones performed well. That also helped that a little bit as well. But it really was the
God.
majority of Call of Duty. 38 million monthly users in as of November of last year, which set the game up strongly for December. Like I've already said, 64% of consumer spending on Microsoft stuff was on PlayStation platforms. Um, 465 million put them way ahead of second place EA, which generated 366 million. EA's performance was driven by FC, obviously. Um, so yeah, it's Call of Duty in terms of playtime on Christmas Day was second, only to Fortnite, which obviously makes sense. Um,
I mean, this is the Microsoft way. Just
yeah,
slap your crap everywhere it can go, make money. So, I mean, at this point, as you kind of been saying before, there's at this point there's I say there's three kind of roads in the game industry in terms of like to operational. We have the high end, which is PC, so Nvidia kind of dominates that area. Then you have the middle range, which is a console, which is I think PlayStation now at this point. So pretty powerful, not quite PC powerful, but still pretty powerful in its own right. Then you have your low end handheld type of stuff with Nintendo owning that lane,
yeah,
and everyone just has their lane now.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely how it seems. Other notables for December is some of the Chinese um, uh, publishers. NetEase with Marvel Rivals, interacting with 29 million active users. Tencent with Path of Exile 2 and Delta Force. Path of Exile 2 generating $148 million on its own. So Chinese publishers up there as well, but all dwarfed by Microsoft. So you got to pick a lane to be in. That third party one's looking pretty damn lucrative.
I mean, you essentially they have their own Xbox game studios, which in of its own right, those studios are pretty sizable. First party. Well, would be their own sizable publisher in its own right. Then you're adding Bethesda on top of that.
Which
Then you're
was a
adding,
publisher,
which was a publisher. Now you're adding Activision on top of that, which
which was
was
the
already,
biggest publisher.
yeah. So they are just ginormous in this lane.
Yeah, yeah, they dwarf any other publisher out there. So, I mean, that's a lot of power that they have now that
I
they haven't even begun to figure out how to use.
Part of me wonders because when this deal was going down, everyone was looking at it as a first party war, a hardware war. PlayStation, Xbox, was our competition, was this not? And it was let through because people didn't feel it was going to harm competition. Uh, um, and like other third party companies like EA, Ubisoft, were like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. I wonder if the deal would have still gone through if this angle was taken, where they're going to become a third party publisher.
I would have imagined that EA, Ubisoft, Embracer Group, Square Enix, Capcom, Sega. I wonder if they would have gotten more involved if they were like, our new angle is third party publishing. I wonder if they would have gotten involved because now the competition looks really, really
really
lopsided.
different? Yeah. And that would have caused all the regulators to look at the situation from an entirely different angle.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It may have never gone through if that was the case.
I still think it would
But
probably would have gone through, but I think oh, excuse me. I think that other publishers would have taken note and started to make plans to kind of like
it is now.
protect
So
themselves.
yeah, it is what it is now. So,
Yep.
but I mean, getting Microsoft dislodged from being the biggest, in terms of revenue, first party publisher, this is gonna be next to impossible. There's just so
Yeah,
many.
it's not happening because I mean you think so they have tentpole franchises like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon,
That's
the
just
list goes.
Activision.
Yeah, that's just Activision, Blizzard, and now you've got all the Bethesda stuff and all the Microsoft stuff. They easily own probably over 250 IPs, probably, if not more. Because I'm sure there's some stuff from like the 80s and stuff that Activision owns that we haven't even fucking thought of. And so you have all of those IPs now that you can just bust out whenever the fuck you want to. Like, it's a shame that they lost Toys for Bob's because like you could have them running the platformer family friendly train the whole time. You know, you've got all of the Bethesda studios and Microsoft studios working on like the AAA stuff that like you want to win game of the year, and you got Activision Blizzard, which just is your workhorse for generating revenue because that's what they've been designed to do. I mean, you cash checks for Call of Duty and fucking World of Warcraft every single fucking month. like that's never ending stream of revenue. So, um, yeah, there will never be a publisher this big again, unless Microsoft buys somebody else.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I ain't think they're buying anyone else ever again. Well,
Yeah,
I don't think Satya Nadella wants to cut that check, and I don't think regulars are gonna let it through at this point.
yeah, probably not. Because yeah, they are not only are they the largest publisher, I think at this point you can say that they are the largest video game company
Mm-hmm. They
because
are.
there's so many people underneath them. Um, so for better or for worse, this is now Microsoft's reality. I guess it's just at this point it's just whatever you make of it. Hopefully, they continue down this third party path. They put the emphasis back on the games instead of the services like it never should have been in the first place. And we start getting some like fucking killer shit. Because like that's ultimately, that's what we want. We dog on Microsoft a lot. It's not because we hate them. It's just because we're disappointed in them. Because at the end of the day, if every company is firing out on all cylinders and we get just great game after great game, that's the reality we want to live in. But that requires everybody putting out great games, of which Microsoft have not. Seems like this is the year for them, because Doom looks great and so does South of Midnight. So let's go. We're rooting for you, Microsoft. Like I said, we only criticize you because we know you can do better.
Mm.
I can't. Again, I'm so excited for South of Midnight. The game looks incredible. I'm not more excited for it than Claire Obscura. I'm sorry. I'm a fucking turn-based RPG fanatic. So
I
you're
am.
lost. But like
I don't
South
know.
of Midnight, close second.
I don't know if I'll say that. I'm pretty RPG'd right now. Out right now.
Never. You're only saying that because you have bad time management. I will gladly play all of the RPGs all of the fucking time. Since we're talking about financials, we'll just jump into some Nintendo financials. It's kind of a clear connection point there. Um, so this story's fresh. So this story would not have been reported on if we did our video normal time. But Nintendo released their financial reports for the late end of for the last half of the last like portion of 2024. And it looks to be honestly like what you would fucking expect. I guess
Yeah, nothing really.
nothing, nothing
Nothing really.
really, nothing really jumps out to me as like crazy. Um, so they did report a loss. So, um, so I'm looking at Forbes article right up on it. Sales for Nintendo's dedicated console business, which comprises Switch hardware sales, accessories, physical and digital software sales, and Switch online revenue, decreased by 31.7% year over year. We're in year 8, people. and Nintendo didn't have like a crazy big year this year for exclusives.
Bunch of smaller stuff.
Yeah, lots of smaller stuff just to cap the end, just to get to Switch 2. Like, so this is honestly, I mean, 31% does seem like a lot, but like,
We got this point in life cycle.
yeah, I personally have not interacted with my Switch for a lot of the year. So like I understand that. Like that number makes sense to me cuz I'm like, man, you're old. um Looking into the game sales, Nintendo says they had a decline of 24.4%. Again, year 8, we didn't have any bangers this year. It was a lot of just smaller stuff to get out the door. So again, it is a loss, but it's still not crazy. Um, they reduced their hardware sales expectations for its fiscal year, which ends in March. Estimating it will sell 11 million console units between March 2024 and March 2025. Again, all of this just kind of is expected because it's the 8th year the damn console's been out. To date, Nintendo Switch has sold 151 million units, putting it at the third best-selling console of all time. We are 4 million units away, 3 million units away from beating the DS and taking that number 2 slot.
He'll get number two.
Um, uh, it seems like it probably won't hit the. It seems like
PS2.
it won't. We won't hit the PS2. I think it will pass um the
Love it,
DS
5.
though, especially if they lower the price after Switch 2 comes out. Um, which will be pretty cool. Let's look at some further breakdowns. Looking on Twitter, Pierre485, who has the full breakdown of the Nintendo report here. Um, Nintendo Switch shipped 4.8 million units in this last quarter, down from 6.9 million units last year. Um, uh, that was just the base model. OLEDs shipped 2.58 million. Uh, oh no, that sorry. That was
Oh,
total
total.
units. OLEDs shipped 2.58, which is 53% of the total shipment. Switch Lights less than a million at 16%, and then 1.5 million regular Switches shipped out. Super Mario Party Jamboree shipped 6.17 million units in 10 weeks, making it the biggest debut in Mario Party franchise, which is super cool. Also became the 5th best-selling Mario Party title with still legs to walk on.
And I still
Uh,
haven't played. I own it, but I still haven't played it.
yeah, we need to get back on some Mario Party. And we're just honestly, I think we're just both switched out. Like I think that's really it's year 8. There wasn't that many bangers this year. I think we're just both like, all right, we're ready for the next thing. I guarantee you, once the Switch 2 comes out, you and I will both be on our Switch 2s, just like it was 2017 all over again. The good old days. Mario Luigi Brothership debuted with 1.84 million units in 7 weeks. Uh,
Bad.
it instantly surpassed Paper Jam and Partners in Time. Mario Kart 8, the game that keeps on selling, shipped over 3 million copies this quarter. Total sales are 67.35 million units and counting. Together with the Wii U version, Mario Kart 8 has now exceeded 75 million units worldwide. It is now less than 7 million units away from Wii Sports lifetime sales. That's fucking crazy. Because Wii Sports
Was
was
it the system?
shipped with the Wii.
Was
So it's for sure gonna beat Wii Sports. That's crazy.
That's crazy. God dang, Mario Kart.
Echoes of Wisdom shipped another 1.33 million units during the holiday season. Now that lifetime 3.91 million units to date. It has now outsold Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Not fucking hard to do. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is now over 2.06 million units. Luigi's Mansion 2 shipped is now over 1.8 million units shipped. Super Mario Wonder uh, has now reached 15.51 million units. Uh, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is now the third best-selling Pokemon game ever.
Shame.
Um, it's now reached 26.38 million units shipped worldwide. The main Pokemon series has sold over 100 million copies on Switch. Fucking huge, huge.
And that's why Game Freak doesn't try.
That's why Game Freak doesn't try. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is now over 21.5 million copies. Second bestseller in the franchise. More than 57% of 3D Zelda game sales were made on Nintendo Switch.
God damn.
So, meaning Tears of the Kingdom and,
Breath of the
and Breath of the
Wild.
Wild. Animal Crossing New Horizons now totals over 47.5 million units. That's 60% of the entire series sales is just New Horizon. Your favorite, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is now at nearly 36 million units worldwide. This represents over 46% of the franchise total sales.
You know what scares me with the Switch 2? When we're talking about Smash Bros. That means Smash. What's it looking for? The Smash rumor mill will be beginning once again.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. Why'd you have to say
Yeah.
that? Breath of the Wild, um, total with the Wii U version, 34.33 million units. And the last one I'll do, Super Mario Odyssey, is now at 29 million units. It's the best-selling 3D Mario game with more than double the second best, which is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So, gotta love some Odyssey. We really need a second one. Hopefully, it releases in the first year of the Switch 2's lifespan, because it'd be really great to have another 3D Mario game out there. But yeah, Switch, remarkably successful.
That's
Switch
why
2
they're.
will hopefully do the same.
That's why they're just being super basic with this new
Yes.
system.
Yes. I'd like to call out anybody that's upset about the Switch 2's announcement because it's underwhelming. You missed the fucking message, dog. We all should be singing from the rooftops that Nintendo has reined themselves in because holy fuck. This could have
Like,
been so much worse.
Nintendo is traumatized that y'all didn't know what a Wii U was.
Yes. And we're never going back to that.
No.
So let's all just enjoy the fact that the Switch 2 is the Switch, but better. Because, like, God Almighty, we could have had another, like, fucking VR cardboard headset. This is the console. Fucking, here's your cardboard suit that you put on. Like, people, if you're disappointed in the Switch 2 reveal, then you did not have a Wii U. You weren't around during those times. I've been in this war since I was 6 years old.
I had a Wii U.
I had a Wii U.
It was a $300 Smash Mode machine.
It was a
I put my- I
$300
put
Smash Bros. Mario Kart and Nintendo Land machine.
I put mileage on that Wii U.
Shout out to Nintendo Land. There were some good games on that. I kind of sad that it never got ported to the Switch in some way, because that game there was some gold in there. So, all right, let's move on to a lot more depressing news here.
Layoff,
We cover
our favorite.
Yeah, layoffs. We covered this in our 2024 in review, but 15,000 people in the gaming industry lost their jobs in 2024, which was up from about 11 million in 2023. And 2020,
11,000? You said 11 million.
oh yeah, I meant 1,000. Sorry, 11,000, 15,000 2024, 11 million in 11,000. I did it again. I'm predicting in
Oh, God.
2023. 2025, not starting off great. 2024 said to 2023, hold my beer, and 2025 said, hold both my beers. So yeah, so a small note, Dr. Disrespect Studio, Midnight Society closing down. I think 50-ish people losing their jobs there.
I mean, on
Microsoft
that,
looks. Oh, go
on,
ahead.
on that, I would say it's sad those 50 people lost their job, but why
Yes.
the fuck were you working for Doctor Disrespect?
Yeah, you kind of knew what you were getting, but still super sad that they lost their jobs. We'll leave it there. Um, Microsoft has already reportedly laid off people this year, and now we have some more. So it was announced last week that WB's Smash Bros. Inspired fighting game Multiversus is shutting down this May for good. Looking at a Polygon article here, it will it will end. It will go offline on May 30th, the day that the upcoming season 5 comes to a close. Multiverses will remain playable offline, which is good, both locally and against AI opponents. The game will no longer be available to download as of May 30th at noon EST. Warner Brothers has already ended real money transactions for the game, meaning players can no longer purchase like the currency. Uh, uh, they will bring two more characters to the game: Aquaman and Lola Bunny. Um, and yeah, it's closed down. WB said in a statement, "We want to thank every player and person who has ever played or supported Multiversus. All of us on the Player First Games and Warner Brother Games teams have poured our heart and soul into this game. We will forever, we will, we will be forever grateful for the incredible support of the Multiversus community through this journey." Um, so yeah, Multiversus is coming to a close. If you want it, better download it now. That way you have it because you won't be able to get it again. No layoffs were reported for this, but I would
Well, I
have to
mean,
imagine that they are coming,
yeah.
especially since WB laid off a bunch of Rocksteady staffers in the fallout of Suicide Squad shutting down. I can't imagine that people will just not lose their jobs over this whole ass game being shut down.
Yeah, that this whole thing was a mess. I mean, the fact that it came out in what, 22,
2022.
23?
2022 was its initial
Came out
launch.
and they were accepting money for the beta.
Yes.
Didn't tell anyone that was only gonna be limited time. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna shutting down for like 2 years almost. Like, that was the stupidest thing they could have done. So they came back to little
Originally
fanfare.
released July 2022, about a year later, so July 2023, publisher and developer took Multiversus offline to retool the game's netcode, matchmaking, and progression system, while also developing new characters, maps, and modes to boost the cadence of new content. It was then relaunched in May of 2024 with a long list of changes and new characters, but some of those changes didn't land with players, and after two initially strong launches, interest in the game just waned. So,
I mean, I felt when I returned, I played it. It felt worse. Like the game grind. The grind for the game for getting unlucky stuff felt worse. The gameplay felt worse. Like I don't know what the hell happened. And taking offline to me was just not the move because it left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. Like, wait, I was already spending money on this game. Now you're taking it offline, and then you just come back after all that little fanfare.
yeah.
It's the whole thing was a mess from start to finish. They had a good idea, but they just did not execute it. And to me, ultimately, the day, for the type of game it was, I get the idea of okay, then you monetize it, sure, okay, but take a book out of Marvel Rivals playbook.
Mhm.
They're monetizing it by doing the skins. You had to grind for characters
Yeah.
in a fighting game. I, the
It just
characters are
doesn't
the
work.
draw.
Yeah.
No, like just let everyone. They made the characters free to play. Everyone can access every character at all times. I think even that small change, I still think they probably would eventually close down, but I don't think season 5 would have been the finale. I think
Yeah.
it could have stretched out to maybe 6 or 7.
I mean, and I don't, and they probably even would have been because I mean, every game has its niche player base. It's just sometimes you hit it big and sometimes you don't. This game had the potential to hit it big because, like Marvel Rivals, you were relying on established IP to draw people in. Like you had DC superheroes, you had other Warner Brother properties like Cartoon Network shows and Game of Thrones, and
And
like that's such a wide-reaching net that you're bound to grab some people in if. But if I log into a game and I can't play the character that I logged into the game to play, probably not going to stick around for very long.
no, I think they also made a couple other mistakes too. They balanced the game around 2v2, which is not. I mean, it's a thing in platform fighters, but no one goes to these Smash tournaments to play doubles. Like maybe a few people do, but most go for singles. You need to balance your game around singles. Um, and what else? I mean, they were some other things they did. I think also it goes to show that it, it's concerning that no one can compete in this space because at this point, no, like Nickel Star Brawl tried twice, failed. Um, Multiversus failed. Sony PlayStation All Stars failed like 10 years ago. Like it's so weird if you compare it to traditional fighters because you have your Tekkens, your Street Fighters, your Guilty Gears. All those games coexist in that space. No one can exist in the platform fighter but Smash. It's so strange.
It is so strange. It is so strange, and I just assume it's because the people making the competitors just don't understand what Smash's appeal is.
Oh, it's the characters. I
Yeah.
mean, it's always the characters and the mechanics. And the mechanics are simple enough to understand because, like, I think Sony has the characters,
Yes. Sony has the
but
characters.
but PlayStation All Stars plays like crap.
Yes.
So like you need them both, but because Mario Smash Bros has the characters, and also its gameplay is stupid simple to understand.
Yes.
So those two need to come together, and they didn't. Multiversus had the characters, but they didn't have the gameplay, and also they made it hard to get the characters.
Yes. Yeah. Like the easy part was then made hard, and so it failed. Like I said, if I log in and I can't play my favorite character, the one that made me interested in the game in the
Cut
first
out.
place, I'll
You
just
cut out.
oh, I cut out. I said,
Yeah.
if I log into the game and I can't play the character that I logged into the game to play, the one that made my interest in the game, then I'll just go play something else. I can log into Marvel Rivals right now and play Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Not well, but I can play him.
Yeah. I mean, even Smash Ultimate had a thing where, you had to unlock the characters, but there was a formula. The way they did it was, okay, you had your original, like, 8 characters, and you just started from there, and it was rapid fire. You just keep unlocking, keep unlocking, keep unlocking.
Yeah.
So it still felt like there was progression in the game. Um, this wasn't there. There's also why a lot of fighting games, I know a lot of people are like, well, there's no, like, secret characters anymore. Because they don't want you, they want you to be able to play your character.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes, that's that. They want you to play your character.
Because
and I think there's also an understanding of the internet exists, so people will just look up how to unlock the characters and then do it. So what's the point of adding the extra development cost of making them secret when here you go, here's the character you wanted to play in the first place?
Um, so yeah, it made so many mistakes down the way. Um, the balancing wasn't that good. Also, when I played it, the skill based matchmaking was horrendous. Like fighting games do have an issue where I would argue fighting games is probably the hardest genre to get into competitively, or
Yes.
even just like casually. Even when it goes to platform fights, which are simpler. Now I'm decent at fighting games, but I have friends who are not, and they said they were getting thrown into matches against people who were almost pro players and just getting their ass handed to them, and they just started the game.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think to that end, I think fighting games are the easiest to drop because like if I'm in a match and I'm getting my fucking ass handed to myself and it's happening over and over and over, I'm just done playing. There's no storyline that I'm invested in. So it's really just the player versus player. So I'm relying on my bond to the character and or my bond to the mechanics, and both of those things. If I'm getting my ass handed and not having fun, I'll step away.
and I get there's rank mode for skill based, for if you really want skill based matchmaking, but for Tekken and Street Fighter, they can kind of get away with being free for all in the public and it's ranked because that's the type of games they are. Multiversus wasn't going for that crowd though; it was going for the casual crowd.
Yes.
The casual crowd, they may sometimes say they don't want skill based matchmaking, but their behavior patterns say they do.
Yes. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not fun to get your ass blasted again and again and again and again and again. That's why Marvel Rivals does the bot thing. Like when you're getting your ass blasted, they put you in a bot game just to make you feel a little bit better, so you stay on the game.
And they're geniuses for that.
Yeah, there's lots of people criticizing for that. I had a bot game a couple nights ago, and I fucking needed that bot game. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. They didn't even touch the fucking cart. They were stopped at the door, and I had about a fun 4-minute game as Moon Knight, getting like 30 plus kills. Like sometimes you just need that to keep going. So yeah, no, sad to see it go, just because I know that people will lose their jobs eventually, but it wasn't set up for success. WB, as we established in our tier list video, they suck. Like,
Oh,
very
shit,
close to
publisher.
Ubisoft tier. And speaking of
Speaking of,
Ubisoft, I'm so sad. Um, uh, Ubisoft closes the studio and announces layoffs at three other studios as "quote unquote" ongoing efforts to prioritize projects and reduce costs. Looking at a PC Gamer article on the subject, 185 people are put out of work. So, affected studios: Ubisoft Dusseldorf, the fucking funnest word to say, Ubisoft Stockholm, Ubisoft Reflections, all receive layoffs, and Ubisoft Leamington, formerly known as Freestyle Games, will be closed. They were known for making DJ Hero back in the day, which was super fun. After that, they were acquired by Ubisoft and then became a support studio. They worked on Hyperscape, Watch Dogs Legion, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws. They worked on a bunch of shit. And they are now gone. Um, the steps were motivated by an absolutely dire 2024, as PC Gamer put it, or a year riddled with delays and cancellations and games failing to meet expectations. Most notably, sales of Star Wars Outlaws were softer than expected. Assassin's Creed Shadows got kicked out of 2024, and then Skull and Bones was a disaster of a launch. So this comes after Ubisoft just laid off people in December of 2024 as it closed down its San Francisco studio and the Osaka studios, and a ramp down of operations at its Sydney studio, resulting in 300 people losing their jobs. So off to a quick lead in terms of laying people off. Ubisoft is, and honestly, it doesn't come as a huge surprise.
no. I mean, we don't need to go into the same stick we're beating them with again. We all
Yeah, we've
know it. It's
we've
more.
repeated the story like 8 times now.
Yeah, so we don't need to go into that. But so all that all the things you've been saying, this is not surprising. It's obviously highly unfortunate, but surprising, no, not at all.
No, it just sucks. Um, Corporate greed and just general top
I mean,
level mismanagement is resulting in countless people losing their jobs. And by all accounts, it sounds like it's going to get worse at Ubisoft. They've received offers to buy them by Tencent. And those offers have been kind of shut down because the Guillemot family that's in charge of Ubisoft refuses to relinquish control. So as long as the Guillemots are in power, it seems like this is just going to continue to go on. And by
I
all
mean,
accounts, Assassin's Creed Shadows is make or break, and it looks like it's leaning towards break, as a lot
I
of
mean,
early previews have said that this game is nothing special.
I mean, it's a Ubisoft game.
Yeah,
It was
Kings
not
of
gonna be anything
Mid.
special. Yeah, the Kings of Mid. I'm heard some people are interested because of the story trailer dropped, and people got interested because of it. But in the day, so much is riding on it to make. There's no way it can do it.
Yeah,
There's just no way.
yeah,
And its momentum has been dampened because it got delayed, and it's coming out right after Monster Hunter. And granted, it delayed a couple weeks after it, but that's still going to hurt it a little bit.
yeah,
Um, there's no way it could do what they want it to do.
yeah.
It's not possible.
It's
So
not
we're
possible.
gonna get they're gonna get hit worse. If they're gonna get worse because Assassin's Creed Shadow will fail to do something it can't do.
Yeah,
It will have unfair expectations put on it.
yeah, and I mean, the most damning thing that I've seen about it from the early previews is that Ghost of Tsushima did everything better, and
Of course it did.
so there's already a game in the space that people can buy that will be better. There's also
More like
there's a bunch of stuff that's being censored in Japan that wasn't that Ghost of Tsushima did not have a problem with. Ghost of Tsushima sold super well in Japan, mind you, and so like that's a hurdle that Assassin's Creed Shadows is stumbling over, and so it's like
and also you have Ghost of Yote coming out this year, which is probably gonna do what Assassin's Creed Shadow is doing, but better.
yes,
Um, I mean,
yeah,
as I
this
said,
is.
Ubisoft is the king of mid, and they're going up now. They're going up in a genre that's now been taken over by Sony, who's not mid. They don't put out mid games unless it's Concord.
We don't talk about it.
So, but it's not going to Concord. They don't put out mid stuff. So, like, it, there's nowhere for them to go. There's
There's
literally
really
nowhere for
not.
them to go.
There's really not. There's really not. And like I said, I think things are just gonna get worse over
No,
at Ubisoft as this continues because
I mean,
clearly the Guillemonts are out of touch.
yeah, no. This is going to continue until they're gone. They need to take the deal Tencent's offering them and go away. As much as I hate
True.
to say it, because Tencent's putting their claws into everything, but I genuinely believe Tencent could probably manage them better than the Grimlock family is.
Yeah, and then we can see a return to form of like Gen 8, no, I'm sorry, Gen 7 Ubisoft when they were actually putting out some really good stuff. So,
Yeah.
but layoffs, they don't stop. They won't stop. And now we get into, I think, some news story that Nick and I are going to have a lot to say about. Looking at an IGN article here, Dragon Age Veilcard dev Bioware reportedly down to less than 100 employees following layoffs and staff exits. EA came out and said that Dragon Age didn't do so hot, and now Bioware is paying the price. So, um, EA came out and said that some Dragon Age developers that were working at BioWare are being moved to other studios. Um, and that way the people at BioWare can focus on Mass Effect 5, stating that they have all the people that they need for it. And these are permanent reassignments, not like on loan type things. For instance, John Epler, Veilguard's creative director, was sent to work on Full Circle's upcoming skateboarding game Skate. Dragon Age senior writer Cheryl Chi was moved from BioWare to work on the Iron Man game over at Motive Studios. Um, and by all accounts, according to EA, Dragon Age Veilguard underperformed. It EA said that Dragon Age engaged 1.5 million players during its recent financial quarter, which was down nearly 50% from company's projections. So they projected it to do 3 million interactions or sales or whatever you want to fucking call them. I think they said engagements because of EA Play and free trials and stuff like that. So I'm gonna imagine that a lot of people didn't stick around to play the full game. Um, BioWare already suffered a round of layoffs in 2023, which we reported on. I'm pretty sure. No, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't report on that. That was before Games and Culture's time. But yeah, it seems like they're down pretty far. They EA's statement. They said a core team is now at BioWare working on Mass Effect 5 in whatever form that it's in. But yes, some sad news at BioWare. Definitely putting a lot of pressure on
I mean, yeah,
Mass Effect 5
it is putting a lot of pressure on it. I mean, this whole thing this is fucking EA's fault because I mean they've been mismanaging Bioware for
a decade.
a decade now.
Over a decade, excuse me.
Yeah,
Over a decade.
because I mean, Andromeda was a mess,
Well,
and then
I feel like the decline of BioWare kind of started with Mass Effect 3.
to an extent, well, I want to say Mass Effect 3 just because I mean, yes, the ending was terrible. And yeah, even now, I'm not. People were trying to defend the ending. Stop it. The ending's crap. Um, but Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year. The year came out.
That's true. That's true.
So
I'm saying the writing started to appear on the wall in Mass Effect
yeah.
3.
I mean, to me, the warning signs were Andromeda. That was where things started going south. It was really Andromeda.
Yes.
Um, Now I will say I don't think Andromeda is as bad as you'll make it out to be. I think Veilguard's a much better game than Andromeda is.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
um, I mean, the biggest stinker was Anthem because why were they being made to make a live service of some weirdo franchise?
Why was it using Frostbite?
Why was using Frostbite? And that really hurt their reputation with the whole Anthem stuff. And then Veilguard had a very tumultuous development cycle. Honestly, it's a miracle that the game came out in the condition it came out in.
Friend of the show, Jason Schreier, needs to do an expose on it. I think that'd be really
Yeah,
helpful.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, the game's not really glitchy at all.
No, I
I
may,
think
I
the
may,
game's
I may have had like one or two like soft glitches. I think I got stuck once and had to reload a save. Like I jumped between like a staircase and like one of those like brazier things. I think I
yeah.
got stuck and had to reload a save, but like that happens. That's fine.
Yeah. I think the gameplay was pretty good.
Yes.
Um, the story, I mean, we're both, I can understand someone not liking, the gameplay or the story, but like these were not bad. They were not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Just I could see not people not being for everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see some of the arguments made by people. The writing definitely is not as good as other Bioware projects, but it's also
mi-
not bad writing either.
no, it's not Andromeda.
Yeah,
That's bad.
yeah.
Um,
The gameplay I thought was pretty
I had fun with
fun. I do think that the enemies sometimes were a little spongy in
it.
terms
Yeah, a little
of
repetitive. I was getting a little wore out just by the end of it. I'll
yeah,
say that. We'll address all that in a review we'll do later for it.
yes,
Um, but Veilguard's for the tumultuous development it's had because it started as a fucking live service.
yes,
Why? Um, the fact that they were able to kind of rig it back into a single player game and it came out in a good condition.
yep,
Um, it's a miracle it did as well as it did.
yes.
And kind of the Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think Railguard was put in a similar position. It got expectations put on it that it could never have possibly fulfilled.
Yeah, Nick and I were talking about this last night while we were playing some Marvel Rivals. 3 million is not a crazy expectation. I still stand by that because I mean you had like Square Enix thinking that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to sell like 50,000 bajillion units when it definitely was not going to. But like 3 million was still like a somewhat reasonable expectation and it didn't hit it. You have to start asking why. October was fairly crowded, especially in the RPG space. Um,
But
and
even you even bring up that though, how much has Metaphor sold? We know it's sold a million its first day, but we haven't got anything since then. So is it hanging around
hold,
Metaphor numbers?
hold.
Like I don't know. I feel like they put a little too much expectation on it because I mean Dragon Age is popular, but it's not Mass Effect numbers. But I don't know. I think they overtuned. And also, I mean, they were probably expecting it to do what to try and make up for the cost they lost with making a live service. Maybe things would have been different for Veilguard if it didn't start its life as a live service game.
True. Um, they have not updated since the 1 million announcement, so
Okay, it's
they
clearly
haven't
sold
released
more
it.
by since then because word of mouth for a game. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
probably.
Sega was
But I
boasting, "Hey,
mean,
this game sold a million a day," and that was it. They were happy about that.
yeah, yeah. I think the problem is Metaphor, new IP, Dragon Age, established franchise.
True.
Inquisition sold 14 million units over its lifespan. I think that's kind of what they were basing it off of. I'm not saying they're right. I'm not saying they're wrong. 3 million sounds reasonable to me, especially like as a Square Enix fan. Like they put unreasonable numbers on all of their games. Like I cannot say this enough. Go play Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. That game is so fucking good. I'm currently on a second playthrough of it right now, just because I felt the need to fucking play it again because it's that fucking good. And they thought that game was gonna be a blockbuster, and it's like a niche franchise. You
Well,
fucked up
also,
Marvel's Avengers. That hurt this game. Like, calm down, Square Enix. But even like them saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was a failure, even though it was one of the highest rated games of the year. Like, you fucking
yeah.
idiots. Stop.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't think it was as unreasonable like as Square does, but I just think there was just so much going against this game. There
Yes.
was no chance for it to have could have won.
And I
Um,
think there was a large group of people. I'm not going to say it's the majority or anything like that. I'm not going to speak hyperbolically, but there's a large number of people I think that were unnecessarily harsh on this game. And it's one thing to have an opinion and to talk about it critically. I referenced this like in our initial conversation about Dragon Age. I watched Skill Up's video of it and still decided to buy it, and I'm glad I did. He broke down what he didn't like about the game, but still said like it is a quality game. It just didn't resonate with me personally, and I think there's a lot of people that were taking that step and like saying that the game was bad because it didn't resonate with them. It's okay not to like a game. It's okay to have
yeah,
complaints about a game,
I
but like
that's
taking it to that next level is where you need to stop.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm with the game. Like, I mean, I have fond memories of, it, but I can kind of look at the game a bit more objectively and go, okay, I'm not saying this game should have been nominated for Game of the Year.
No,
Like, it's in my running for personally, but I can be more objective and go, no, there was other titles that were deserving of a nomination slot. Um, but doesn't mean it wasn't a quality game. I really enjoyed Stellar Blade in the year. I wasn't arguing if we never forgotten the year.
yeah,
So, like, a game can still be quality and just not be, a 10 out of 10. And, and people were also being hateful about other things that are in the game, which even though the things in the game were not like big
yeah.
deals at all. So, it was getting
If
had
you have
all
a problem with DEI, please click off the
leave.
video. Yeah,
Let's just fuck off.
as we've said multiple times. Um, but like, yeah, no, I think people were honestly like if you're. We'll get into more about the review, but we both actually quite enjoyed Dragon Age: Veilguard. It's not perfect.
No.
It's not a masterpiece. It's a really respectable like B game. Very respectable. Do I think it overstays its welcome? Absolutely. Do I think some of the mechanics could use a retooling to fit a little bit better? Absolutely. Do I think the script could have been a little bit better? Absolutely. But none of it's bad. It's not a
There's a,
bad game.
no, it has a couple missteps here and there, and enough to make it say I'm not. It doesn't deserve a Game of the Year nomination, but there's plenty of games to do that, as I said. Um, we all can't be Metaphor, Refantazio,
We all can't be
uh,
Yakuza. We all can't be Infinite, like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
or Astrobot. Um, but the point is, there seems to be a attitude with a lot of people in the industry where it's not a 10 out of 10 Game of the Year contender. It's trash.
No.
Dog, there's 14,000 games coming out every year. 6 get nominated.
Yes.
And this past year was 5 in a DLC.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. I so this seems to be a really big problem with the bigger publishers that put these ungodly expectations on the games. Where you have like, we mention them all the time. Capcom and Sega are like literally the perfect publishers and developers right now. Like they're just releasing quality stuff, putting reasonable expectations on it, and it's selling well. We haven't seen we haven't seen any layoffs come from Sega and Capcom because they're making money. They're releasing good stuff. They're putting accurate expectations on them based on the money that they're spending to make the game, and just going with it. Like I think all companies. It's same with Nintendo. Same with Nintendo. Nintendo's not having any layoffs. They're
no.
doing a lot of weird lawsuit shit. They're not perfect, but like they're releasing high quality stuff, putting reasonable expectations on it, and people not getting laid off.
I mean, this ultimately just comes down to as the reasonable expectation thing. And that problem alone is not just permeating the video game industry. It's permeating a lot of different industries and a lot of different
Yes,
situations. So,
entertainment across the board is
I mean,
being plagued by this.
not even entertainment, but we're getting into the weeds there. Um, but I mean, this is a problem, especially with American companies, particularly in EA's. It is an American company where these ridiculous expectations are being put on games that have no business having these expectations.
Yeah.
And while maybe Dragon Age 3 million is not too bad, there was so much going against it. It had such a tumultuous uh, development cycle, and honestly, I don't think the marketing for it was that good.
It
Like
really
straight
wasn't.
up,
It really
it really
wasn't.
wasn't. Um, so there was a lot of things again. Just the game had no win in its sales. So despite all that, it did a good quality game. Still did pretty well for itself. I think there's ways they can do it to get the game have longer legs, but apparently they're not interested in that. They want the money now.
Yep. And they've already said that they're not even going to give it extra legs. There's no DLC coming to it. They are full on Mass Effect 5, whatever state that it's in. The entirety's the the new slimmed down Bioware is all hands on deck for Mass Effect 5. So I truly hope that they get they get it in gear and Mass Effect does what EA needs them to, because I mean we're looking at a world potentially without Bioware. And
That's not a world. That's not a world I want at all. Because I love
no,
Bioware. I love Mass
yeah,
Effect.
I love Bioware too. I mean, I'm one of the few people out in the world that have played Jade Empire and really want a remake of that or a sequel to that. That
I
game's
mean,
sick.
I want to.
Um,
I want to do another Mass Effect playthrough so bad. But there's other games I need to play.
I mean, pick your time, man. I don't know how into Monster Hunter Wilds you're gonna be. So,
Not really.
well, then fuck it. March is your time to do a Mass Effect playthrough, but you just need to know when to pull off and play this shit so that we're not 4 months late on a metaphor review. Jesus, fuck. Lord Almighty. Which that is coming. Reviews for Astrobot, Metaphor,
Before
Dragon Age,
Dragon.
and our Game of the Year stuff will all be done before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out, because I'm checking out. I'm checking out after that. Never gonna
Going
see or
MIA.
hear from me again.
What we do a Monster Hunter Wilds review.
I mean, if you're gonna play it, yeah, we'll absolutely do one. If you're
I mean,
not gonna play
I'm
it,
gonna get the game. I'm gonna get the game. I don't know if I probably won't beat the story for it though before we do a review because I know those games can be long.
I probably won't have beaten the story before it, sir.
Mm.
Well, those games, it's not that they're long, because they're actually like kind of not. It's that you have to repeat the process so many times to get the shit you want. That's really the
Uh,
problem.
yeah.
I have this cool blue sword, but I want the cool red sword. So I got to kill the red monster a ton of times to get the cool red sword. But now I got the cool red sword, and I really need the cool blue armor now. So now I got to go kill the blue fucking guy, so I get another armor. But that guy's really hard, so I have to get this cool yellow armor to defend me against the blue monster to get the stuff for the blue armor. That is the pit of. That's the
Monster Hunter.
simplified pit of Monster Hunter.
And it's one you're throwing yourself willingly into.
Oh, yes. I have hundreds of hours in the Monster Hunter, and I will have hundreds more after this.
We're
I assure
gonna,
you.
you're gonna have to put your face on a milk carton.
Have you seen this man? I'm just at my computer playing Monster Hunter Wilds. My beard's growing, my hair is super long. My eyes, there's staples holding them open.
Just cans of monster flared
Yeah,
about.
just fucking just going to town. My Edge controller is like it's white, but now it's like brown, just because I've held it the whole time.
God. Oh,
I am hermit. Go away. Leave me to my Monster Hunt. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Cannot wait. That does conclude the news for this episode. Next, like I said, we'll just do our normal cadence of news episodes. The Game of the Year episode will be a bonus episode. We'll get those reviews out at fucking some point. Just because he wants to finish Double Exposure and I want to finish Rebirth. So that's what we're doing, I guess. Let us know in the comments what publisher is going to take the cake for most layoffs this year. My vote probably is going to be Ubisoft. They probably will close down at the end of this year.
I'm still fun bets on Microsoft because they're the biggest one. So just by sheer numbers.
if all of Ubisoft's got 18,000 employees
Oh,
still.
if they shut down, yeah, they
Ubisoft
win.
Ubisoft was one of the largest. So if they go under, it's going to be massive explosion.
I mean, I don't think. Well, yeah, well, that's their thing.
I don't think they're actually going to go under, but I do think there's possibility for mass layoffs though.
Massive layoffs, yeah.
Let us know what game from Microsoft's catalog do you hope comes to PlayStation 5? Is it Master Chief Collection? Is it the Gears franchise? Is it the original Fable? That'd be a cool one to see. Let us know in the comments.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah, Killer Instinct for you, fighting game guy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Like the video, send it to someone that shares the same opinions. Do all those things that really help us out here. And it also keeps you in the know for when the fucking Metaphor review comes out. We've waited so long.
Soon. That'll be our first review. We'll do that one first.
Will we?
It's up to you, but I don't see why we want to do it for.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Adios.